All right, before we get into your project requirements, I wanted to talk a little bit more about one-point perspective drawing. So here is a photo example about one-point perspective. So you can clearly see the rails of the bridge here as orthogonal lines heading back to the vanishing point. And then we see the horizon line of where the sky meets the land, or in this case, the ocean. In this next photo, we don't really see the horizon line as clearly, but we can still see the rails of the train track as orthogonal lines heading back to the vanishing point. So I just wanted to give these real-life examples to get you to understand perspective. Here is a drawing of a room in perspective. So in this case, everything is labeled clearly for you. So our orthogonal lines are in yellow, so you can see how you could draw a room in perspective. This will be done when you get to Art 2, and even when you get to Advanced Art. So let's look at these three blocks and make sure you are understanding perspective. The one that is closest is the block B. That is closest to us. It's furthest down the page, it's closest to us. The one that is up in the air would be block C, because we could see the bottom of that block. And then the one that's in between is block A. Now let's get into your perspective project requirements. So you have to create a perspective drawing of your name. It could be a nickname, it could be your last name, middle name, anything that meets those requirements. Your drawing must have at least 5 letters or objects in perspective. What I mean by objects is that you can draw stars in perspective to fulfill your requirements, or things like an exclamation point or something like that. So for example, if your name was too short, like an example like Ava only has 3 letters, you can add stars on either side. That would give you 5 objects in perspective, so you'd meet the requirements. My only warning to you is don't exceed 8 letters, because that's just going to be too hard to fit on your paper, and it's going to take you a lot longer. The last requirement is that you have some sort of background design that fills the paper, and then everything will be colored after that. Here are some examples for you to look at. Here we have the first one. Emily is kind of divided up into 2, and she's got an abstract background that she designed. And then Trinity's, you could see she kind of started running out of room, so she tilted her letters, but still a great design in space. Then we have the other Emily that's down and to the left with our cool Zentangle design in the background. And then last one, Rocky, he played on the term Rocky Road for his design. Last thing I want you to look at is this visual rubric here. So notice the main differences between the A projects, the B projects, and then the C- projects. So the A projects have all the orthogonal lines drawn in correct perspective. The coloring is really neat. It makes the letters stand out. And the background is not just a plain color. It's been faded. It's got a cool design to it. Then the B project, we have some struggles with the orthogonal lines. Some of them aren't where they quite need to go. And the background is a little bit too plain. That's why it has a B. It's lost some points there. And last, the C projects, you can see our coloring gets a little bit too scribbly, and our orthogonal lines are all over the place. They are not following the rules. They aren't all going to the vanishing point at all. So that's where you can lose the big points. So hopping back to the other examples, you can see this is what you're aiming for. Neat coloring, a really well-designed background, and well-drawn letters. That is all you need to know about your project for now. For the rest of the day, you are going to finish your perspective letters practice. That's just below this video. And don't forget that once you finish that, you do need to submit it to get points.